I sold everything. I disappeared in the middle of the night. I changed states. I changed my phone number. I changed my entire life. And when my daughter Sarah came back expecting to find me waiting like I always had been, she found an empty house, locked doors, and a certified letter that would destroy the fantasy she had built. I am 62 years old. For the past 2 years, I thought I was helping my daughter through a difficult time. Turns out, I was funding my own betrayal. But I am getting ahead of myself. If you are going to understand why I did what I did, why a mother would disappear from her daughter's life without a word of warning, you need to know the whole story. Every detail, every lie, every moment that led me to make the hardest decision of my life. Because there comes a point when you have to choose. You can keep being the good mother, the understanding mother, the mother who sacrifices everything and asks nothing in return. Or you can choose to survive. I chose survival, and I do not regret a single thing. My name is Linda Martinez. I was a high school English teacher for 38 years in Phoenix, Arizona. I retired 3 years ago with a decent pension, some savings, and the house my late husband Robert and I bought when we were newlyweds. Robert died of a heart attack 10 years ago, leaving me with our 2 children. David, my son, moved to Denver for work and rarely visited. And Sarah, my daughter, my baby girl, who stayed close, too close, as it turned out. Sarah was always my golden child. She became a pharmacist, married Jake, gave me 2 beautiful grandchildren, Emma and Lucas. I was so proud of her. So grateful she chose to stay in Phoenix, to let me be part of her life, part of my grandchildren's lives. Every Sunday dinner at my house, every holiday together, every time she needed help, I was there. And she needed help often. Jake called himself an entrepreneur. I called him unemployed. He had a new business idea every 6 months. A food truck, a cryptocurrency trading platform, a consulting company. None of them ever made money. Sarah's pharmacy salary kept them afloat, but barely. And I helped. Of course I helped. That is what mothers do. Over the past 2 years, I gave them over $30,000. Car repairs, mortgage payments when Jake's latest venture failed, preschool tuition for the kids, emergency room bills. I never said no. Because every time Sarah called crying, saying she did not know what to do, that the kids needed this or that, I could not refuse. She was my daughter. They were my grandchildren. But 4 months ago, something changed. It was a Tuesday evening in early February when Sarah showed up at my house unannounced. She was crying before she even walked through the door. I made her tea, sat her down at the kitchen table, and waited. "Mom," she said, her voice breaking, "I need to tell you something." My heart stopped. Was she sick? Were the kids okay? "I am pregnant," she whispered. "We just found out. Number 3. I hugged her, told her congratulations, even though I could see the fear in her eyes. "Mom, we cannot afford this. Jake's new business, it is not working out. Again. And with my salary and 2 kids already, I do not know how we are going to manage. The house needs repairs. Emma needs braces. Lucas's therapy sessions are not covered by insurance." She started crying harder. I held her hand. "What do you need, honey?" She looked at me with those big brown eyes, the same ones she had as a little girl when she wanted something. "I hate to ask this, Mom. I really do. But Jake's grandmother left him some jewelry and some cash when she passed. It is in a safe deposit box at the bank, but we cannot access it right now because of some legal issues with the estate. If we could just borrow some money to get through the next few months until we can get into that box, we would pay you back everything. I promise." "How much?" She hesitated. $20,000? My stomach dropped. That was a significant chunk of my retirement savings. "Please, Mom. I would not ask if we were not desperate. It is for the grandkids." The grandkids. She knew that was my weakness. I thought about it for maybe 10 seconds before I said yes. Because that is what I did. I said yes. Always. But then she asked for something else. "Mom, there is one more thing. Jake and I talked about it, and we think it would be easier if you gave us access to your safe deposit box, temporarily, just so we can store some important documents there. Our box is full, and we are worried about keeping things at the house with the kids running around." I should have questioned it. I should have asked what documents. I should have said no, but I did not. I trusted her. 2 days later, we went to the bank together. I added Sarah and Jake to my safe deposit box as authorized users. Inside that box was my late mother's jewelry, some gold coins Robert had collected, and $50,000 in cash. Emergency money I had saved over the years. Money I planned to leave to my children and grandchildren someday. Sarah hugged me so tight when we left the bank. "Thank you, Mom. You are saving our lives. I love you so much." I believed her. 3 weeks later, Sarah called me again. This time, she sounded even more desperate. "Mom, I lost the baby." "Oh, honey, I am so sorry." She was crying, hard. It was too early. My body could not handle it. The doctor says I need to rest, but Jake is a mess, and I cannot take time off work. We need the money. Could you watch the kids for a few weeks? Maybe they could stay with you? Of course. Bring them over whenever you need. And that is when things got strange. The kids never came. Every time I called to confirm, Sarah had an excuse. Jake's mother was watching them. They were at a friend's house. The school had extended hours. I started to feel like she was avoiding me. Then I stopped hearing from her altogether. No Sunday dinners, no phone calls. When I tried calling her, she sent me to voicemail. When I texted, she replied with short responses. "Busy. Talk later. Everything is fine." I told myself she was grieving the miscarriage, that she needed space, that I was being a clingy mother. So I gave her time. But 4 weeks after our visit to the bank, I got a strange call from my financial advisor, Richard. "Linda, I wanted to give you a heads up. Someone tried to access your retirement account yesterday. They had a power of attorney document with your signature, but when we called you to confirm, the number on the document was disconnected. The signature also looked off to me, so we denied the request. I just wanted to make sure you knew about this." My blood went cold. A power of attorney? I never signed anything like that. "Richard, I did not authorize this. I need you to freeze everything, all my accounts. Nobody gets access except me in person." Done. "And Linda? You might want to check your other assets. If someone is trying to access your retirement account, they might be trying other things too." I hung up and immediately called the bank, the safe deposit box. The woman on the phone checked the access log. "Mrs. Martinez, your box was accessed 3 times in the past month, twice by Sarah Martinez and once by Jake Morrison. What did they take?" "I cannot tell you that without you coming in person. I will be there in 20 minutes. I drove to the bank in a daze. My hands shook on the steering wheel. When the banker opened the box in the private room, I looked inside. Empty. Everything was gone. My mother's jewelry, the gold coins, all $50,000 in cash. I sat down in the chair because my legs could not hold me anymore. "Are you okay, Mrs. Martinez? Should I call someone?" "I need copies of the access logs. Every time someone opened this box, I need it all printed out." While I waited for the paperwork, I tried calling Sarah again. Straight to voicemail. I tried Jake. Same thing. When I got home, I did something I had never done before. I went on social media. Sarah had her Instagram set to private, but Jake's was public. And there, posted 3 hours ago, was a photo of Jake on a beach, crystal blue water behind him, a tropical drink in his hand. The caption, "Living my best life. Number. Blessed number. No worries. Number island time." I scrolled down. More photos. Sarah in a sundress on the same beach, the kids building sandcastles, all of them at a fancy restaurant, Jake jet skiing. These photos were all from the past 2 weeks. There was no miscarriage. There was no grieving. There was no struggling to make ends meet. They were on vacation, an expensive vacation. While I thought my daughter was suffering, she was drinking cocktails on a beach with my money. I felt like I was going to be sick. I kept scrolling. Went back further in Jake's posts. 2 months ago, a photo of a new truck. Caption, "Upgraded the ride. She's a beauty." 1 month ago, a photo at a casino. "Feeling lucky tonight." 3 weeks ago, a designer handbag on Sarah's arm in a photo. A bag I knew cost several $1,000s. They had not needed my help. They had wanted my money, and I had given it to them. All of it. I sat on my couch in my empty house and cried. Not because of the money. I had more savings. I would be okay financially. I cried because my daughter had lied to me, had used me, had stolen from me, had faked a pregnancy loss to manipulate me into giving her access to my assets. But the crying stopped after an hour, and something else took its place. Rage. Cold, calculating rage. I went to my computer and logged into Sarah's email. I know. It was an invasion of privacy. But she had given me her password years ago when she needed me to print something for her while she was at work, and she had never changed it. What I found made the beach photos look innocent. There was a whole email thread between Sarah and Jake, starting 6 months ago. The subject line, the plan. I clicked on the first email. Jake had written it. Babe, I did the math. Your mom's house is worth at least $450K. Her retirement accounts have another $300K based on what she mentioned last year. The safe deposit box probably has 50K, 100K. If we play this right, we could have everything in the next year. She trusts you completely. She will do whatever you ask. Sarah's response, I don't know, Jake. It feels wrong. She's my mom. Jake, your mom, who still treats you like a child, who calls you 5 times a day, who guilt-trips you about not visiting enough. She suffocates you, Sarah, and she's sitting on all that money while we struggle. Is that fair? You're her daughter. You deserve that inheritance now, not when she dies in 30 years. We have kids to raise, a life to live. She's already lived hers. I read that line 5 times. She's already lived hers. I kept reading. Over the next several emails, Jake laid out the entire plan. Get access to the safe deposit box. Forge a power of attorney to access her accounts. Document any moments where I seemed forgetful or confused. Use those to eventually get guardianship. Sell the house. Put me in assisted living. And Sarah, my golden child, my baby girl, said yes to all of it. She wrote, You're right. I'm tired of being poor while she lives in that big house alone. Let's do it. They planned everything. The fake pregnancy announcement to make me sympathetic. The fake miscarriage to keep me off balance and guilty for bothering her during her grief. The request for safe deposit access. The forged POA. All of it. There was even an email where Sarah practiced what she would say to me. Mom, I'm pregnant. Mom, I lost the baby. Mom, I need your help. She had rehearsed manipulating me, but the worst email came from 2 weeks ago. After they had already taken everything from the safe deposit box, Jake wrote, Beach vacation was perfect. Your mom's money spent well. Now for phase 2. I talked to that lawyer friend. He says if we can get her to sign the POA willingly, we can avoid fraud charges. We need to visit her when we get back and convince her it's for her own good. She's getting older, forgetting things, struggling with the house. We're just trying to help. Classic guilt trip. She'll sign. Sarah responded, What if she says no? Jake, then we use Plan B. We already have documents showing she gave us $50K without remembering. We have her signature from the bank. We can build a case that she's incompetent. I hate to do it this way, but we have the kids to think about. They deserve a better life than we can give them on just your salary. Using my grandchildren as justification to steal from me, using my love for them as a weapon, I printed everything. Every email, every plan, every lie. Then I did what I should have done the moment Richard called. I called a lawyer. Grace Henderson was a retired attorney, a friend from my book club. When I showed her the emails, the bank logs, everything, she was silent for a long time. Then she said, Linda, what they did is fraud, identity theft, elder financial abuse. You could press criminal charges. They would go to jail. I thought about that. My daughter in jail. My grandchildren without their mother. I don't want revenge, Grace. I just want them to never be able to do this to me again. I want to be safe. Grace nodded. Then we protect you. Legally. Completely. And we do it fast, before they come back from their vacation and try Plan B. Over the next 2 weeks, while Sarah and Jake were still posting beach photos, Grace and I worked. We reported the forged power of attorney as fraud. The bank flagged their names in the system. We filed a police report about the safe deposit box theft. With the emails as evidence, the detective said it was a clear case. We got a medical evaluation from my doctor confirming I was completely mentally competent. Sound mind, sharp memory, no signs of dementia or cognitive decline. We changed all my passwords. Every account, every login. We set up a trust for Emma and Lucas, with my son David as trustee. Money for their education and future, money that Sarah and Jake could never touch. And then, Grace suggested something I had not considered. Sell the house, move somewhere they can't find you, start over. I looked around my kitchen. The house where Robert and I had raised our children, where I had hosted 30 years of Sunday dinners, where I had lived my entire adult life. I can't just leave. Can you stay, knowing they're planning to take it from you, knowing they were going to put you in a home and sell this place out from under you? She was right. I listed the house the next day. The market was hot. I had an offer in 72 hours, below market value, but I did not care. I accepted it. Closing was scheduled for 2 weeks later, exactly one day before Sarah and Jake were scheduled to return from their month-long vacation. I started packing. Not everything, just the essentials. Clothes, photos of Robert and the kids when they were young, my mother's china that Sarah somehow had not stolen yet, books, documents. David drove down from Denver to help. When I told him everything, he was furious. I always knew Jake was a user. But Sarah? Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have been around more. I should have protected you. You're here now. That's what matters. We filled his truck with my belongings. Everything else, I sold or donated. I did not want any of it. It was all tainted now. The closing happened on a Thursday. I signed the papers, took the check, deposited it in my new bank account in Colorado, an account Sarah did not know existed. That night, I slept in a hotel. My house was empty. My life in Phoenix was over. Friday morning, I drove to Colorado. David had found me a small apartment in a quiet building near his house. 2 bedrooms, a balcony with mountain views. It was perfect. Before I left Phoenix, I did one last thing. I left a letter for Sarah and Jake. Grace helped me write it. It was delivered by certified mail to their house, scheduled to arrive the day they got back from vacation. The letter said, "Sarah and Jake, by the time you read this, I will be gone. The house you plan to steal is sold. The money you wanted to access is protected in accounts you will never touch. The power of attorney you forged has been reported to the police as fraud. The safe deposit box contents you took are documented as theft. I have all your emails. I have all your plans. I know everything. You thought I was stupid. You thought I was weak. You thought I would never find out. You were wrong. I am not pressing criminal charges, but only because of Emma and Lucas. They deserve to have their mother, even if she does not deserve them. But know this, if you ever try to contact me, if you ever try to find me, if you ever try to access my assets again, I will give everything to the police. Grace Henderson has copies of everything, with instructions to act if anything happens to me. The trust for the kids is set up through David. They will be provided for. You will not. Sarah, I loved you more than my own life. I would have given you anything if you had just asked honestly. But you chose to lie. You chose to steal. You chose to betray me in the cruelest way possible. You used your children, my grandchildren, as weapons against me. You faked a pregnancy loss to manipulate me. You planned to lock me away and steal my home. I am not your mother anymore. You lost that the day you decided I was just a source of money to exploit. Do not look for me. I am done. Linda. I mailed it and blocked their numbers. The drive to Colorado took 12 hours. I cried for the first 3. Then I stopped. I listened to audiobooks. I stopped at rest areas and stretched. I watched the desert turn into mountains. By the time I pulled into the parking lot of my new apartment building, I felt lighter than I had in years. David helped me move in. His wife Rachel brought me groceries. Their kids, my other grandchildren who I barely knew because Sarah had monopolized all my time, helped me unpack. I started my new life, and 3 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost did not answer, but I did. It was Sarah. She was screaming. "What did you do? What did you do? The house is sold. You're gone? Mom, you can't do this. We need you. The kids need you. You should have thought about that before you stole $50,000 from me. We were going to pay you back." With my own money you plan to steal through a forged power of attorney? Silence. How did you— I know everything, Sarah. Every email, every plan, every lie. You're not sorry you did it. You're just sorry you got caught. Mom, please. We can fix this. Let me explain. There's nothing to explain. I read it all. You chose this. Now live with it. I hung up. She called back 17 times that day. I did not answer. Jake left me a voicemail. His voice was shaking. Mrs. Martinez, please. We made a mistake. We're sorry. Sarah is a mess. The kids are asking for you. Can we just talk? Delete. Over the next few weeks, they tried everything. Sarah sent emails begging for forgiveness. Jake showed up at David's house. David called the police. They got a restraining order. Sarah's emails got more and more desperate. I was manipulated by Jake. It was all his idea. I was scared to say no to him. Please, Mom, I'm your daughter. But I remembered her emails. Let's do it. I'm tired of being poor while she lives in that big house. Those were her words. Not Jake's, hers. Then, about 2 months after I left, I got an email from Jake. It's over between me and Sarah. I left. She's a mess. Lost her job because she couldn't focus. She blames me for everything, but it was her idea to ask for the safe deposit box access. Her idea to fake the pregnancy. I just went along with it. She's toxic. The kids are with her parents now. Thought you should know your daughter is a manipulative liar. You were right to leave. I did not respond. I did not care who blamed who. They deserved each other, and now they did not even have that. I have been in Colorado for 6 months now. I got a part-time job teaching ESL at the community college. I joined a hiking group for seniors. I volunteer at the library. David and I have dinner twice a week. I actually know his kids now. They call me Grandma. It is nice. I think about Sarah sometimes, about Emma and Lucas. I miss them, but I cannot let that pull me back into toxicity. Last week, I got a letter. A real letter, handwritten, forwarded through David. It was from Sarah. Mom, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know what I did was unforgivable. Jake and I are divorced. I'm in therapy. I lost my pharmacy license temporarily because of the stress and some issues at work. I'm living with my parents, trying to figure out my life. The kids ask about you every day. I tell them Grandma is on a trip. I don't know what else to say. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything except to say I'm sorry. I was greedy. I was cruel. I justified it by telling myself I deserved it, that you owed it to me for being an overbearing mother. But you weren't overbearing. You were loving. And I threw that away. I'm sorry. Sarah. I read it 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I will respond. Maybe someday I will let her back into my life in some limited capacity. Maybe someday I will see my grandchildren again. But not today. Today, I choose peace. I choose my own life. I choose the Linda who does not sacrifice herself into nothing for people who do not value her. I am 62 years old. I spent 40 years being a teacher, 10 years being a widow, 2 years being financially abused by my own daughter. But now I am free. I am healing. I am building a life that is mine, where nobody uses me, where nobody plots against me, where nobody sees me as just an ATM or an obstacle to an inheritance. Some people will say I was cruel to disappear, that I should forgive because she is family, that I should think about the grandchildren. But I did think about them. That is why I set up their trust fund. That is why I did not press charges and put their mother in jail. And I thought about myself too. For the first time in my life, I put myself first. If anyone reading this is in a similar situation, if your family is using you, draining you, lying to you, I want you to know something. You are not alone. You are not crazy for feeling hurt. And you have options. You can choose to protect yourself. You can choose your dignity over their manipulation. And that is not selfish. That is survival. I sold my house. I disappeared without warning. I changed my entire life. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. Because I deserve peace. I deserve respect. I deserve to live my remaining years without fear of being used by the people who are supposed to love me. And so do you.